Ladies and gentlemen, Von Miller suspended. The defense needs a bolster. The Bills signed a player to the practice squad. Excuse me, to the 53-man roster. Do we need a receiver? Does everybody eat? There's a whole lot of stuff to talk about, folks, right here on the Recall Report. We'll see you in just a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Rico Report, brought to you by the Buffalo Fanatics. Hey, welcome to another edition, folks. We got lots to talk about today. Let me not waste any time, man. Let me get right to the shits. Let me get right to the nitty gritty. But for those that are tuned in for the very first time, do me a favor, smash that likey. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. And for those that have been joining us for months, for years, you know what I'm saying? Those that, that have been here since day one, y'all already know what time it is. Salute to y'all. Real love, man. Real love, man. Listen, we got things to talk about. By the way, shout out to the chat. Somebody said, turn my mic on. Ooh, rookie mistake. We in it. And I appreciate that I actually looked at the This is why I got love for y'all, man. Yo, turn your mic on, baby. Let's go. If I'm clear, if I'm crisp, let me know. Give me the thumbs up if I am. If we good, I got the thumbs up. Let's roll, baby. Let's roll. All right, folks, we got things to talk about, man. We got things to talk about. But most importantly on the docket, we got to talk about something that's really near and dear, right? And if for those that are probably wondering what I'm talking about, we were invited to be guests at a wonderful wedding. And you guys already know what time it is. You guys know what I'm talking about. Our guy Zebot got married. My man got married. You feel me? So your boy had to show up and show out. What a beautiful wedding it was. What an awesome event. I'm so proud of my guy Zebot, man. Like, listen, man, young man, tying a knot, making an honest lady of his woman, Caroline Bell. No more para-husses, Caroline Bell. Beautiful wedding, beautiful couple. I couldn't have been prouder, couldn't have been happier for my brother. I'll tell you right now, man. It was a really great time. And it's, when you see Zebot, I'm gonna tell you something. When you get to meet someone, I've met Zebot multiple times, so it wasn't my first time meeting him, but you get to meet Zebot and his family. And his family is just as beautiful of a person that he is. And that's real talk. That's real talk, man. So big shout out to my guy Z. I mean, we went out. Let me get out of the way because P Money was there too. You see it. The boys came in. Pierre's kind of leaning down. He's like 6'4", 6'5". Look at the size of his brother, man. But we had a great time. We showed out, and it was really nice to really get it going. Let me just walk out the way a little bit because we got my guy, the thigh doc over here. He's actually really much taller than he is right now. He's leaned down a little bit. The way I had to crop it, had to make it work. Then we got my man Zebot. Then we have the beautiful bride, Caroline. There she is. She was absolutely stunning. Zebot looked great. You know what I'm saying? You got myself and my man P Money. Listen, man, what a time. What a time. It was a great wedding. I can't sit here and not show out because it was awesome, man. It was a time for us to celebrate someone you care about, and what an awesome time it was. Beautiful people, beautiful family. I can't get over how great both families are, and it was awesome, man. You boys have to show out too, boy. We got the picture. I got the wifey's up top. You got P Money. You got P Money's beautiful wifey over here, Keisha. So wait, listen, man, we showed out that wedding, man. We had to really, make it happen and represent. This is not just a podcast we get on here. That's fam, man. That's real tough. That's love. And it was really, really nice to get out there and celebrate my guy Z and his father. Amazing. his mom, Mama D, if you're listening, Papa, if you guys are listening, man, I couldn't have been happier meeting you. And I'll tell you right now, I made a connection with someone. I made a connection. I got to get this off my chest because it was a moment. I made a connection with someone, man. I was talking to Zebot's grandmother. That woman, I'm gonna tell you, man, because any wedding I go to, I want to make sure, like, you know what I mean, at least for me. I mean, no wedding, in my personal opinion, you can't have God without you. You need God in the middle. Three cores, baby. You, your wife, and God together. And grandma was like, you make sure that you guys keep God first. And I had to tell her that. And she's like, who? You're one of Zebot's friends? Like, yeah, I'm the one that does a podcast with him. She's like, you are. Listen, hugged, had a chat, love it. That whole family is beautiful. Anyway, I want to get that out the way because it was a beautiful moment, man. That's why you don't have Zebot. Zebot wasn't here on Monday because he had to, he's on the honeymoon with his lady, so he's got time to, get acquainted, get nice and acquainted. And it was an awesome moment, great venue. I ate, the food was fantastic. Wifey, she had quite a bit to sip on. She had a good time. She had a damn good time. But overall, man, what a wonderful moment. Wonderful moment, wonderful people. It was great. So you guys make sure that you show some love to Zebot when he gets back, because now he's a new man. Now he's a married man. Now he's gonna be showing off his ring. Now every time he talks, he's gonna be like, "There's the ring. Let me just show off that ring a little bit." You know how they are. You know how they are. So we'll see how it goes, man. But big shout out to my guy Zebot. I gotta give some love, man. That's my guy, man. I love that dude. Really do. That's you tend to appreciate someone more when you start to see how they are with their family, truly are. And that's a tight knit family. It's a beautiful family altogether. Awesome. 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 Anyway, that out the way. I guess we got to start. Like, where do we begin? Where do we begin? Do we talk about our new signing? I think we should. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't noticed, because the signing comes, and I have my guy Carl Jones that's going to be joining me, and shame on me because what I should have done was sent Carl Jones the link. And this brother's probably like, yo, if you want me to come on your show, you got to give me the link. So let me go and do that right now. Shame on me. He's going to be like, yo, where you at, bro? I need that link. You going to show that to me or what? Need that link, boy? I got you, bro. I got you. My bad. My bad, Playboy. He's going to be joining me in just a second because I want him to join me as we talk about these things that we're about to talk about. And that's our new sign, our new signing, Zion Log, I believe his name is Zion Log. I don't know a whole lot about Zion Log, but what I do know about this guy is he's a lot to move out the way. He's a big man. He's a big boy. And if you play for Georgia, you're a problem. If you play for the Bulldogs, you're a problem. And that's who we have recently signed. And I'll be honest, man, I don't know a whole lot about Zion Love. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you. So, by the way, shout out to my guy, Dave Myers from BIB, built in Buffalo, doing big things out there. Salute to you, my guy. Listen, I hope your knee gets better. The whole time, my man took his leg out. And I was like, man, you need some sun. You white as hell. Turns out it was like a whole wrap. He had his foot all wrapped up in white. My bad, bro. My bad. I thought he was pale as ever. I mean, he is a little pale, but, a little melanin don't hurt. But much love to you, man. But real talk, Zion Log, defensive tackle. So that plays a part because we're like, okay, we just signed a defensive tackle. Here I am thinking, hold on a second. We signed a defensive tackle. Is it because we got gashed for 271 yards? Because McDermott, which the one thing I do appreciate about McDermott is if we get gashed somewhere, if we're lacking in a position, him and Brandon Beane don't wait. If they feel very confident in where they're at, they'll stay put. But if they feel like something's up, we got to fix that. And we kind of understood the assignment because last year we need to beef up the middle because we were gashed a couple times, and we brought in Poona Ford. Poona Ford comes in. I think a couple years before we brought in Jefferson, right? So like when we need the beef, we need the help, they tend to attack it and get there. By the way, salute to my guy Carl Jones. My bad, man. I had you waiting in the room. You know what I mean? But we're gonna get into that because this is where Carl Jones might be able to help me out because I don't know a dang thing about Zion Log. So hopefully my guy Carl Jones can shed some light. So without further ado, let me bring in my guy, Carl Jones. What's good, my G?
What's up? What's up? How we doing?
I'm doing well, man. Listen, I want to apologize, man. Listen, gentlemen, this is my man Carl Jones from News 4 Buffalo representing, and he's got quite. I'm sure he's gonna have quite a few nuggets that he'll want to share with us. Things that he can share, obviously, but we'll get into this. But let me get right to the nitty gritty, man. Zion Log. We bring in Zion Log not to the practice squad, but to the actual 53-man roster. What do we know, or what do we need to know about Zion Log? I'm hoping you can help us out.
You're a big boy. He's a big boy at the defensive tackle spot, 330 pounds. A different body type that I think the Bills have had, on the road. Obviously, and he did play, won 2 national championships at Georgia, spent 5 years there. So he's familiar with a lot of the current Bulldog boys on the team, James Cook, Van Pran Granger as well. I'm forgetting one Bulldog, another one, but there are 3 current Bulldogs on the team. So he has some familiarity on the roster.
Right.
6th round pick from this past year. So they're clearly, I think this move corresponds with the Von Miller suspension, but I think it's also something that the Bills clearly needed to address as well, because Austin Johnson, his snap count decreased in the second half, like he didn't play at all. So maybe there was addressing that as well, some reserve depth on the defensive tackle spot. But regardless, that's what you're getting out of him. I can't tell you much about what he's done in the league because he ain't done nothing in the league yet. But he was a 6th round pick from this past draft.
Well, okay, and I'm so see. This is why I bring on Carl Jones, because Carl, you're my guy, man. Like you set me straight if I don't know anything about it, especially because I mean you're a collegiate player yourself, D1 player yourself, so you kind of know some of these boys, right? So I appreciate that very much. So when you see that type of signing, I initially was like, that's because King Henry did a number on us, so they need to they need to tighten up. They need to tighten up real quick. And lo and behold, it wasn't necessarily just that. It was also because we just lost Von Miller to a 4-game suspension. Oh, did not see that coming. Especially because, I mean, his gaffe, if you will, that all that stuff happened like almost over a year ago. So Von Miller has now been suspended 4 games, not due back until October 28th. Is this a big blow to the defense?
Considering the player that he was, at least through the first 3 games of the season, for sure, they'll have to figure out to maneuver some pass rush in a different regard, because that's what he was bringing, especially through the first 3 games of the season. And then going forward, they're going to go up against, I mean, the schedule gets better. I mean, to be fair, the first 3 games of the season, I know going in, the schedule looked kind of tough. At this point, I think it's fair to say it wasn't. And you're going up against CJ Stroud, a guy who is shown to be a top 10 quarterback already in his 2nd year in the league. For whatever you can say about Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, this Jets team always gives this current version of the Bills fits. So you're going to need these guys, or at least the best roster that you can field out there, especially when you've played some better quarterback play. So it'll hurt for sure, along with the fact that you're missing other guys. I think that's the biggest issue here. If it was just him, you can manage it, but it's Vaughn. Whenever Terrell Bernard gets back, Taron Johnson, along with Matt Milano as well.
So for those that are kind of living under a rock and are not certain as to what's going on with Von Miller has been suspended 4 games without pay for violating what the NFL is calling the personal conduct policy, announced today. So, like I said earlier, he's not due for eligibility to be reinstated on October 28th. That is week 8. And that comes when we face the Seattle Seahawks that was in a freaking dogfight last night with the Detroit Lions. So, I mean, listen, you guys already know what time it is with Miller. I mean, obviously in 4 games that we've had him on the field, he's had 3 games with 3 straight sacks. Last week, I mean, just this past weekend wasn't a great one for us, but I mean, we learned to win some, we lose some. I mean, we're talking about a 3-time All-Pro here, right? So the fact of the matter is this: he's looking like the old Von Miller, and it seemed as though we were getting back the old Von Miller that was able to get to the quarterback in no time. So this is a big suspension. This is a big one for us. And what that tells me is him being gone 4 games. Somebody's got to step up on the edge. So Greg Rousseau has been doing a phenomenal, great job, phenomenal job thus far. AJ Epinesa has been active. So now that we need a closer, who becomes the closer? And something that I was excited for when we drafted this individual. I think he gets a lot more time. Do you know where I'm going with this?
Javon Solomon.
Hey, my guy, Javon. I'm jacked up for Javon Solomon. Javon Solomon's already got a sack this year. I think a sack and a half this year. So and a strip sack, excuse me. So I'm jacked up for Javon Solomon and what he brings to the table. I mean, you're talking about a player that's got in his 4 years of college ball, I think he's got like 40 sacks, something of that nature. He had like 10 sacks a year. He's racking them things up. So he is accustomed to getting after the quarterback. So the little time that he's had time to spend with Von Miller, AJ Epinesa, Greg Rousseau, this is your number. Your number's called. So this is your time to shine. What say you about Javon Solomon and the potential he's got and the big opportunity that's coming his way?
Yeah, I think that he has a great opportunity in front of him. And based off what we've seen this year, there's been some reserves on the Bills that have stepped up when their number has been called. Balen Spector through the first 3 weeks, obviously. Dorian Williams, Cam Lewis, Jamarcus Ingram. So This isn't like some foreign territory that this defense has had to deal with. And then also, when you look at the role that Von Miller had up until this point, it wasn't like he was playing every single down and snap. And I think that'll really help out Javon Solomon in terms of maybe not being overwhelmed when he gets onto the field. You know, just like, hey, you're just a third down guy. That's all Von Miller was, sporadically early down snap guy. You don't have to worry about all the different stuff that the guys who play 70, 80% of the snaps have to do. So, hey, man, third down, this is what we like to do. Here's all the stunts and the packages and all the creative stuff we like to do. Hone in on that so you're not, overwhelmed with the playbook. Because quite frankly, when you're young, the game just speeds up. It gets faster at every level that you go, especially in the trenches. I mean, unless you're one of those elite guys, the learning curve is a little bit steeper just based off how physical and how quickly the game works up front. So I imagine that's what they'll do. You won't see some crazy snap count from him. It'll be, if I had to imagine, very similar to Von Miller. But then also Dawon Smoot, is back now as well. So I think that'll help out in terms of too many snaps for him.
Speaking of Dawon Smoot, what a bozo thing to do. I mean, you got cameras all around you. I'm talking about like on top, to the right, to the left. Like, you're not gonna get away with kneeing somebody in the face. Like, come on, fam. Like, just some of the things that some of these cats do. I'm lost for words sometimes. Like, fam, why even do that? You're not that guy, first of all. But anyways, it is what it is. But Smoot will definitely have his opportunity to really excel alongside Javon Solomon and the depth players. I mean, I'm looking forward to Dwayne Carter getting some more time as well. So this will be fun to see how this all plays out. But Von Miller being suspended obviously is a big blow to the defense because you lose the experience, you lose the leadership. There's a lot of things that you lose when a guy like Von Miller is sent packing. I mean, packing for now. But when those things happen, other things happen, right? And this is where you have players like Dwayne Carter's gonna have to step up, AJ Epinesa. I mean, a slew of players are gonna have to step up on that defensive front. So love to see that. We'll get to see depth players step up, and who knows, Zion might come in and be a big difference maker. I don't know. I mean, it's quite too soon to say those things, but we got a big boy coming into the trenches. So I wonder if that plays a part. Do you think that plays a part in, I guess, what the Ravens were able to do to us when they just absolutely just gashed us? I mean, we'll talk more into that Ravens-Bills game, but I wonder if that has a lot to play with it. So we'll see how it all shakes out at the end. So Von Miller gone, Zion log in, and this is where young pieces like Javon Solomon will have to step up. Dwayne Carter will have to step up. So something to look forward to. Here's something else to look forward to, potentially. News around the league. I don't know if you've seen this before. Have you heard the news? So if you haven't heard the news, folks, Devonte Adams is available for trade. How did this all materialize? Well, It materialized by Coach Antonio Pierce straight up calling him out without using names. He said, some players make business decisions. The organization is going to have to make business decisions as well. And we're like, oh, shoot, who is he referring to? Who is he talking about? Well, it only took a week for us to reveal who the heck he's talking about. And it was Davante Adams. It's clear because that's a big piece. That's a frustrated player, right? You go from joining the Raiders to be with your best buddy, and they ship his bum out of here. And now you're sitting here catching passes by Gordon Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Not the two quarterbacks that you thought that would be able to get you guys over the hump. Now, allegedly, the Raiders were in line to draft Jaden Daniels. Wouldn't that have been a big piece for them? But that's not the way the game works. I mean, you got to jump up there and make a trade for it. If you can't, too bad, so sad. So here it is, folks. Davante Adams having a conversation with I've told my wife this already, but the also fine Kay Adams. That girl's fine. I don't know. I don't care what anybody wants to tell me. She look good now. So here comes Mr. Davante Adams and that conversation that I was having with Kay Adams earlier, I think today. So check this out.
So this big story happens where they think your coach or your coach did, I actually don't know, likes this post about you getting traded. When you heard of that, I guess my first question is, how soon did you hear from coach?
Yeah, I haven't heard from him. I haven't talked to him. So I haven't I don't know. I don't really know exactly what that was about. Obviously I got, social media is a beast, so it's a lot of people out there that saw it and wondering what's going on and people reaching out, and I haven't spoke to him.
Well, I'm surprised by that. I would think he'd hit. That's okay. Well, I would think you work together every day. So if that, I would say, right. oh shoot, I accidentally hit that. I unliked it. Now it's this huge story. Is that just kind of like what the dynamic is? That's not something that you want to hear from him?
Honestly, it's hard to comment on.
Okay, she's struggling to find the words. She's trying to figure it out. Like, yo, how do you do this to Davante? What's coach saying? Like, how is he not talking to you? What I felt that she was trying to say is like, yo, Antonio Pierce seems like he's a straight shooter. So like, why not just straight up tell you instead of letting it fester the way it's festering online over everybody? That's what I took from it, but we'll let this play off and then we can kind of dive into this.
I'm sure you would imagine as such, but it's one of those situations where I just keep my head down and keep doing my thing and let the chips fall where they may as it pertains to that. But I haven't there's been no communication with anybody from the team since that became a thing. But it's kind of just like the weekly what's up with Tay thing. It's always some sort of drama. But at the end of the day, 1-7 doesn't create any of it. So people can say what they want, but I'm just chilling, trying to be the model for not stirring the pot and just locking in and doing what I got to do.
And there you have it. Not stirring the pot and doing what we got to do. So, all right, man, let's talk about it, man. Is there what are your thoughts first and foremost when you talk about when you see a situation like this come to, I guess, to the forefront? And Davante Adams is no slouch. Devonte Adams is obviously a name that everybody knows. And right now, when you look at the state of the league and you look at the state of how things are coming along, there's a lot of struggling big-time receivers out there and a lot of struggling offenses passing the football. It seems like running the ball seems to be the trend right now. Obviously, passing is always going to be king, but right now it's not working for them in Las Vegas, excuse me. So I'm looking at the leaders in the league right now. And Nico Collins leads the league right now with 489 yards receiving, right? Justin Jefferson is number 5 on that list with 358. And I'm looking at the next statistic, and that's number 23, 230 yards for Khalil Shakir. The next Bill on that list, I got to scroll all the way. He's not even the top 50. So Khalil Shakir is clearly the top boy on the squad. Now that you hear that Davante Adams is available, we always talk about cap this and we don't have the money for that. But teams that don't have money always find ways to make things happen. Like this offseason, the Chiefs didn't have a whole lot of money, didn't make a lot of moves. And now you hear, don't let the Chiefs get Devonte Adams. Can the Bills find a way to make room for Devonte? Can they? Would they? Does it make sense? Do we stick with the whole, no, everybody's got to eat, man. We went away from a number one receiver. We're not trying to do that anymore. Let's just work with what we got. Khalil Shakir is enough. But yet, you got people talking and saying, yo, you could use a Devonte Adams. And it's not just us fans talking about it. National media is saying, hey, man, don't sleep on the Bills doing it. So if you're looking at the Bills roster, you're looking at the Bills output, what they've been able to do on the field, and really looking at the personnel, are we good with what we have, or should the Bills make a run for Devonte Adams?
I think two things can be the same here. I'm not going to act like I'm going to play the little Switzerland here for a second here and play in the middle. I think the Bills, as constructed, their receiving core is good enough. I think that they, at least in the building, feel as if that it's a unit that can do enough to make sure the season stays afloat and it's diverse enough with combining Josh Allen and Joe Brady, that it's a group that wouldn't tank the season, and that they have high hopes in a Keon Coleman to develop as the year goes on. Obviously, high hopes in a Khalil Shakir, figuring out whatever going on with Curtis Samuel. You can go on and on. However, if there is one type of receiver that this group doesn't have, it is the X receiver on the ball that is a route winner. They have the ball winner in Keon Coleman, but they really don't have the guy where if he's lined up on the ball, guy in front of him pressed up, it doesn't matter what the corner, who it is across from outside of maybe past Sertan, he's going to win. And that is what a Davante Adams would provide you, even at his, I believe he is 31 or 32, if I'm not mistaken. So that is something that the Bills would need. Now, the salary cap ramifications of this are a little intriguing. Stay with me here for a second, people. Devonte Adams' current base right now is $16 million. The Bills have 3.2 in cap space. Now, obviously, teams can figure out ways to make that work. One issue that the Bills have, they don't have any big contracts. Like the highest in terms of base salary on their roster right now is Tyler Bass, 2.8.
Crazy?
Yes. So it's not like, for example, if you already zeroed out Josh Allen's contract, like they did that a few weeks ago. So if they had the $3 million and Josh Allen still had his base of like $45 million, well, boom, you zero out Josh Allen's contract, push his money into the future, even further into the future, and now you created $40-some-odd million right there. The problem is the Bills don't have that right now. So the only way that Devonte Adams could end up in Buffalo, and this is why I think it's a little bit unlikely, is that you would tell Vegas, you guys zero out his contract, and we just compensate you guys with a higher draft pick. The issue with that is, if you're Vegas, one, why would we take on more dead cap than we already will by trading Devonte? And two, you're not the only team bidding for him. So unless the Bills offer up such a first or like a 2 and then like 2 2s or something like that, where Vegas can refuse to say no, that's the type of offer it will take. It will take the Bills saying, hey, we'll give you a 2 this year and a 2 next year. And then Vegas will be like, damn, that's probably as best as we're going to get for a 32-year wide receiver. Because otherwise, there are teams right now who can acquire Devonte Adams without doing any funny cap space stuff. I will say, and I think Devonte is still an elite player.
Yep.
Another X receiver type that is disgruntled, not working out this year, is Amari Cooper. His contract has already been zeroed out. The Browns did this when they tried to get Brandon Ayuk.
$900,000.
So you can slide him in even with the little cap space the Bills got. Don't know if they would want to do that because he's on the last year of his deal. And you know how the Bills work, how they finagle stuff when the player gets on the wrong side of 30. But I think that one is a little bit more realistic than Devonte Adams.
Here's the deal. Devonte is an elite receiver,
yes.
Right? I think we both agree. I think he's top 5 for sure. He's in my top 5 for sure. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
All right. I'm looking at what we have on the squad. I haven't heard a damn peep from MVS. Not a peep. Not even a look. All right. I mean, they don't even look this guy's way. When they say huddle up, everybody, and Devontae's coming in, they're like, yeah, okay, I guess you can come too. That's the way I feel like they treat MVS on this squad. All right, you got Gabe Davis light and Mac Hollins. That, I mean, here and there he's good for a reception or two, and that's about it. So really, what we're working with is Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, and Kincaid, because I haven't heard a damn thing about Curtis Samuel. And now I was trying to give him some grace last week. Grace is up. The grace is up. All right. We'll get into that in just a little bit. So for me, if you, and we talk about a window, right? And this window conversation has been happening for some time. And we always say, yo, the window is always going to be open when you have Josh Allen. Okay. And that's a fact. But if you have an opportunity to pick up that phone call and say, yo, what's it going to take if you're going to trade Adams to us? First of all, trading him within the conference is nasty work. All right. That's nasty work. We've already done it before with Diggs going to Houston. All right. I can't see the Raiders saying, Buffalo, go ahead and do that. Right. But the Chiefs, they're saying the Chiefs could get him. I can't see them doing it within the conference. That's deadly. They couldn't do that either. So if they were going to trade him, they'd have to trade him to the NFC or a team that is just not viable to do anything. So he's in a terrible position. But just the thought of Davante Adams and Josh Allen together on the same field, and I get it. Everybody eats. We try to move away from having a number one receiver. Damn all that. At the end of the day, you need an X. At the end of the day, you need an X. And if you don't have an X, you better have an elite tight end that you're using. Last time I checked, we toying around with Kincaid. Yo, get this brother involved heavily or find your X. Now, is it too soon for me to saying this? Or 4 weeks into the season? I feel like it's too early, but it's really not. Because just last week, we were talking about Cincinnati needs to win this, so their season's done. Jacksonville's season already done. Jacksonville's done. We're 4 weeks into the season. They're done. So it's never too early. But here's the biggest reason that I say a Davante Adams would be great for the Bills. Regular season, we tend to do well always. But regular season is not my issue. My issue is when we get to the playoffs. Because when we did have an X receiver, he disappeared. He was nowhere to be. APB put out for Stephon Diggs. We couldn't find that brother, man. L'Jarius Sneed had a lockdown. You bring in Devonte Adams, I think that'd be very different. I think now you have to respect a Khalil Shakir way more. You got to respect Kincaid way more. And you have to respect Keon Coleman. So that would be, like you said, a route winner. He's a route winner. That boy's routes are so smooth. Now, all this talk that we're doing, very slim chance that Devontae ends up in Buffalo. But you never say never.
You never say never. And I will say, I did lay out the possibility for it to happen. Brandon Bean would tell Vegas, you guys eat the base salary, zero it out. I saw someone in the comments point out the example of Leonard Williams and how the Seahawks did that last year. And that's the exact scenario that you would do here. You tell them, hey, zero out his deal, and then we will overpay in terms of draft capital. That's the way you do it. The one difference between this one and that one, the bidding services for Davante Adams will be slightly higher than Leonard Williams. So you may have to cough up maybe 2 2s. Because I know the bidding price is starting at 1-2 right now. If you're forcing them to eat even more dead money, they're going to want another sweetener, maybe a 2 and a 3. So I think that's
a 2 and a 3 could do. I mean, those 2 2s, I was actually looking forward to having those 2 2s going into.
No, I agree, but I'm saying if you're Vegas, say because if I had to guess right now, I think the 2 front runners are probably Washington and New York for obvious reasons. From both of one, New York obviously is Buddy, and then Washington. We saw what happens when you have a quarterback on an accelerated timeline. You saw what the Texans did and how they're going all in. If the Commanders feel as if they have a dude, well, you better go all in and start surrounding him with some guys. So I think those 2 are the front runners. But hey,
never say never.
Never say never.
Never say never. But you know what? You did lay out a way for to do it. Eat all the money. We'll try to find a way. The question is now becomes: Do you like your draft capital in order to stay young and build, or are you that confident in this team that you guys can win it right now?
Right.
And that's the real question. Are you confident enough you're in the totality of your roster and your roster makeup that you can go at this guy and he instantly makes you guys that team? And that really is the question that remains. So right now, Davante Adams will be on another team. The question is when? When will he be? Will it take until week 8, or will they try to get rid of him sooner? What say you on Antonio Pierce jumping in and saying, man, I ain't with that, man. You don't want to be here? Dip. Get out of here. I ain't playing with that game. I don't care who you are. You don't want to be here, out you go. How do you feel about that boldness?
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to instill a culture, I think that's one way to do it. I do know that, and we're not in the locker room, so this is all speculating stuff here. For how many times Devonte Adams has said he's disgruntled whenever there's smoke, there's fire. I think Bills fans can relate to that just a little bit based off of what they dealt with 14 over the past few years.
Right.
But listen, maybe other guys in the locker room feel the same type of way, and this is AP standing up for the other 52 in the locker room. I don't think that's the case, but if I'm spitballing here, I know AP comes from that like straight shooter, old school mentality of not just not just coach, but player. We all watched him do great things for the Giants for all those years as well. So I'm not a fan of it. I personally am a big fan of keeping everything in-house. But I mean, if there were other people in that building who felt the same way about DA, if there's one person who does have the cachet to say that, it's the head coach, because right now they don't have the quarterback who can say that.
And that's the tough part in all this, because it's like you said, man, like, listen, there's only so many teams that you can fight with, and you don't have the capital to fight with them. So it's almost a moot point. And I guess my question for you now becomes, all right, so we don't get Davante Adams. Are you still confident in the receiving core that we have right now, 4 weeks in to the season?
I feel the same way I did in July and August when I saw the team up close and personal at training camp. I think they're good enough. And when you have a cyborg at quarterback, let me backtrack it. I think they're below average. But when you have a cyborg at quarterback, you can uplift it to good enough. And I think that's the difference here. I'm not saying 17 is the boy in Kansas City at all, but you kind of saw what a good offensive coordinator and what a historically great quarterback can do with a subpar unit around them. We just saw that win a Super Bowl last year. Now, one difference is Kansas City's defense is much better last year than what the Bills are trying out right now. But it can be done, and I think that, truthfully, what they have right now is better than what the Chiefs had until January, because I think Rashee Rice took a huge step in the playoffs last year, which helped them out. But right now, I think they are good enough. And now they do have some matchup problems, body types, and secondaries that give them problems, like we saw Monday or Sunday night. But there's about 4 teams in the league that are going to do that to you.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. If he goes to the Washington Commanders, though, bro, deadly. That team is already looking super nice. And Jaden Daniels is playing lights out. So you put Devontae, you get Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson right now. Is it Brian Robinson? What am I saying?
Brian Robinson.
Brian Robinson? Yeah. Brian Robinson running the rock right now. Jaden Daniels playing the way he is. Cliff Kingsbury doing what he does. You put Devontae next to Scary Terry. That'd be nasty. That'd be nasty work. So we'll soon see how this all plays out and shakes out. So we get that out the way. We get all the NFL stuff out of the way. Let's talk about the bullying that happened in MT Bank Arena. All right. And the Bills recently was on prime time, and they absolutely got their tails whooped. Inside, outside, you know what I'm saying? Listen, you name it. We were outplayed, outcoached, out-hustled. They were more physical than we were. You name it, they were that. And if this was a game for the Bills to lose in that way, I'm stand by it. I'm okay with it. Why? Because it's nice and early. We can fix the issues going forward. Boy, was it embarrassing to watch. Carl Jones, when you look at what took place that evening, we can go with what we learned, or we can go with winners and losers. I'll let you pick on what we could talk. What topic we can hit right now.
We can go with what we learned.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Tell me what we learned, Because there's things that stood out to me about what we learned. What did we learn, man?
I think we learned that this whole, cliche, everybody eats. And once again, I don't think that's a bad thing for the Bills to say. I think it preaches good camaraderie around that unit. They're all young. We spoke on why this isn't a bad thing to say within each other last week. But I think that sounds all good and dandy until you run across someone who can go pound for pound and man for man with you, especially on the outside. And I think it was a little bit of fool's gold with how undermanned the Jacksonville Jaguars defense was in terms of, it doesn't matter if you play zone or man, the Bills are going to be able to dominate you. And historically speaking, as long as you have Josh Allen at quarterback, you can't play man against the Bills because of the fact if you turn your back on him in man coverage as a defensive back, he can escape and run out of the pocket. What made Sunday night a little alarming and a little concerning to a certain extent, the Ravens did that and got home to Josh in terms of pressuring him and making him feel uncomfortable. Yep. And that's where it gets a little tricky. And we've spoken about this. I think in terms of the regular season, they're going to be fine because there's not many rosters in the NFL that can roll out that type of style on defense to give the Bills fits. There's just not many teams who can marry the pass rush in the secondary. However, off the top of my head, there are 3 teams that can do that, and they're all in the AFC. You saw the Ravens do it. The New York Jets have done it for the past 3 years, and then the Kansas City Chiefs might be the greatest example of that. So that's what's a little concerning to me because on Sunday night when I watched back the film, Ravens literally said, we'll put Kyle Hamilton on Dalton Kincaid. He's better than him. That's what they're saying. This is what they're saying.
Okay.
Kyle Hamilton's better than Kincaid, and Marlon Humphrey's better than Khalil Shakir. We dare you to win anywhere else. And the Bills tried with trying to make the plays for Keon Coleman. He had the tough drop. He did have some couple good catches after that. But you see the Baltimore Ravens, they literally said that. We dare you to have Matt Collins beat Nate Wiggins. We dare MVS to beat Brandon Stevens or Keon Coleman or Dawson Knox. We dare you to do that. And while we try and get boys on the outside, we're going to have Travis Jones, our, I believe, second-round pick at defensive tackle called Problems. We're going to have, I believe his name's Nnamdi now, Madubuike. Be an all-pro once again. And then Kyle Van Noy, who seemed to turn back the clock every single damn year. Shout out to him. It was a great game plan by them. And I think that throughout the year, it's not going to pop up too often because not many defenses can do that. But as I've talked to you about, I tend to look at the future with this type of stuff. In the postseason, that's where the Bills are going to be judged on. And I think that is the one thing that I want to see them. I mean, they're going to get the same test in 2 weeks. I think the Houston defense is good, but it doesn't present the answers to the problem that the Bills have right now on offense.
I love that you mentioned that. I dare you. I love that you said that because that's exactly what they did. I dare you. I dare you to try out Keon Coleman. I dare you. I dare you to think Khalil Shakir is going to be better than my guy. Oh, by the way, Connor McGovern and them boys, I dare them to try to block me up. And they called our bluff. They said, I dare you. Let me see if you can try to do it. And Joe Brady wasn't able to find the mismatch. That is my problem. But to me, the mismatch, in my opinion, would have been trying to exploit the middle of that field. And I don't feel like we did that enough. We didn't expose. To me, you know where we would have got him? James Cook should have been, if you're going to dare with Kyle Hamilton, I'll take James Cook over Roquan any day. However, Roquan lit up James Cook in the middle of that field. Boy, did he lit him up. He lit that boy up. He said, no, thank you. Not today, boy. But they just had our number. They absolutely had our number. And I'm glad that you brought that up. Here's what I learned. It was very clear. It's very apparent. My favorite NBA player of all time is Kobe Bryant. That's my guy. Love Kobe Bryant. He had tears when that brother passed away. That's my guy. And there was a moment in Kobe Bryant's career where he was defending the inbound, and Matt Barnes had the ball, and he faked it to his face, right? And Kobe didn't even flinch, right? And I don't know if there was this moment or it was another moment, but another Kobe moment where he was calling somebody soft. Let me tell you something, man. That defense looked absolutely soft. You know what I mean? I'm gonna use Eddie Murphy in Life when he was saying you S-O-F-T. You soft, bro. Yo, Rasul Douglas, you look soft that game. D Ham, don't even get me started on D Ham. Soft. Yo, the whole defense was soft. The only player that showed out, that showed a little bit of life, two players actually. That was Dorian Williams and Taylor Rapp. And Taylor Rapp learned his lesson, and he's right now dealing with a headache. But we wanted nothing to do with the physicality of the Baltimore Ravens. And what you just did was you put out tape that you guys don't want physicality. They're going to look at these guys. These guys don't want to tackle. Guess what? We're going to run the mother effing rock and dare them to stop us. Fam, not everybody has King Henry. Not everybody has King Henry, but they're going to test you. They're going to test us. And until you stop us being physical with you and punch you in your mouth, that's exactly what's going to be. That's what I learned. I learned we were soft, and nobody wanted to step up and be that guy to say, you know what? Damn all of this, man. I'm not scared of this squad. And nobody did it for us. And it showed by the score. It showed how we got run 271 yards rushing on us. How disgusting. So that's what I learned. I learned we were soft that day, and I'm waiting for a dog to turn up. There were no dogs on that field. The only dogs there were was the guys in black. Sickened me. I wanted nothing to do with it. But that's what I learned in that. I don't know if there's anything else that touched your nerve that you learned in that game, but we can transition into winners and losers. So I don't know how many winners you got in this one, but I'm gonna start with you. Winners, losers. Well, you can start with winners or losers. Where do you want to start when it comes to winners and losers?
I think one winner, and once again, it's not.
Hey, you found a winner?
I did find a winner in terms of something I think the Bills can build upon going forward. I know he had the crucial bad drop, unexcusable drop right before halftime, but I think they may have found something, Josh Allen and the Coleman connection, in terms of the back shoulder balls that they were catching down the field, the left sideline. That is one way to combat some of that press physicality, man coverage that the Bills are going to see from teams that have the capable bodies to do so. Because, I mean, in 2 weeks, I don't think the Texans will do that this week. I know Derek Stingley is a baller, for my money, a top 10 guy in the league, but they don't really ask him to do that too often. But the Jets will. Like, they will tell Sauce Gardner, you got that side. DJ Reed, you got that side. Let's get up in these boys' face and let's box. And I think the Bills showed Coleman can maybe be an answer to some of that. Like, he won't be the route winner. I think at this point in his career, or even at this point in the season, asking him to be the guy to win on dig routes against press coverage and asking him to win on glance routes and things of that nature may be setting him up for failure. But I think if you ask him to do the things that he is comfortable with, being physical down the sideline and using your body and your athleticism to use your basketball roots on the football field, we saw that Sunday night, and I think that's something they could build upon going forward.
That's you know what? I didn't find a whole lot, but I'm gonna agree with you. I did like that. And sometimes during adversity, when you're getting your tails whooped and you're not able to count on some other guys because they're locked up or the matchup is not great, Josh found something with Keon, and that's where I feel we can build on something. And hopefully, going into Houston, there's a lot of ramifications that can fit in there because this is going to be a shootout. You're going to have to air the football out. They got a pretty good defense. Maybe not as good as last year for some reason, but they got a damn good defense. So we're gonna really truly find out if that connection was just a fluke or is it something they can build upon. And I think that you might be onto something with that. Great job for taking that because it wasn't a whole bunch of winners. Let me see if I can find a winner somewhere. Because there wasn't a whole lot, man. I gotta say there wasn't a whole lot. Let me go to losers right now. I'll go to losers before I come back. Tyler Bass, man. Listen, Tyler Bass, fam. In this case, there's cause for concern. There's absolute cause for concern. I can't not depend on you. We're already, busy enough trying to keep this offense putting up points and so on and so forth. Luckily, we've been putting up 30 plus points. We need you to contribute. And when you contribute, we need you to be consistent. And this guy is the epitome of inconsistencies. He absolutely kills a 50-yard field goal. We're like, all right, that brother might be back. 50-yard field goal right down the pipe, boom. And then when we need you to keep the score somewhat relatively close, you shank it. And I'm not saying that that's what caused us to lose this game, but fam, there's not a lot of confidence in you right now. The team can talk about, oh no, we still feel good about it. Nah, bro, we don't, because they brought in 2 kickers just in case. So I don't know what the heck is going on with Tyler Bass, but I'm gonna tell you right now, they are heavily reevaluating what they do at the kicker, especially next year. I think they're gonna hold on to him this year, barring any injuries, of course. But they're gonna have to really reevaluate that kicker position for next year, because right now, inconsistent. Do kickers just grow on trees? No, they don't. I get it. No, they don't. But we paid him his second contract. So when we paid you, you're the highest paid player, base salary on this squad right now. Yo, earn your money. Earn your freaking money. And right now he's not earning his money, and that's a problem for me. So that's one of the losers in this situation right now for me. What say you in terms of winners and losers for this Ravens-Bills game?
Yeah, I do want to touch on Tyler Bass for a second here.
Yeah,
I know that based off the money that it may seem wild that they couldn't cut him. And I hope that he turns things around. I wouldn't wish on nobody's failure. But listen, if his play continues to be inconsistent, I think the Bills, if they found an adequate replacement, they would swallow the bullet on the money and figure out a way to get a better replacement in there. There's nothing worse than if it's 4th down from the 35-yard line and it's 4th and 6, they're going for it because they don't believe they have a kicker. They need a 50 because they can have a 52-yard kick. And in this day and age, 52 is the old 42. So I think that's where if Sean McDermott starts to tell being like, hey, man, like this, I really don't feel comfortable in those situations, anything can happen. Now, for my loser, it's the spine of the Bills defense. And when I think of the spine, just literally go up, like just start from the bottom and go up. So we're talking about the D tackles to the linebackers and then back to the safeties. In 2024, with how horizontal the game is and how, I guess just how horizontal the game is and how complex the game is, if you don't have a strong spine to your defense, you're going to have a tough unit. If you think about some of the best defenses over the past, say, 2-3 years, look at the Chiefs. You have probably the best defensive tackle in ball. Then you have Justin Reed back there at safety. Drew Tranquil, Leo Chenal, Nick Bolton's okay. So that their spine is good, along with Trent McDuffie when he's in the nickel as well. We can talk about the Ravens, who probably have the best spine. Travis Jones, Matabike, Roquan, Cal Hamilton in the back, Marcus Williams as well. With the Bills, because of the fact there are injuries at linebacker and then question marks at safety, you will want those D tackles to be the strength of that and maybe mask some of the issues. But we didn't see that on Sunday night, unfortunately. I believe Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones, I know tackles aren't everything, but I believe they combined for one tackle or a half of a tackle. That's not good for a team that runs the ball as much as Baltimore did. Dorian and Balin, along with Nick Morrow, really didn't play well. I know Dorian gave up the rough touchdown. There was some misdirection stuff, some of the play action stuff they were getting lost in. And then the safety play just wasn't good enough for a game of that magnitude where you required your guys to put their hard hat on and come to work. And you didn't really see that Sunday night against a team that, once again, is saying, hey, we're going to throw all, like, we testing your testosterone today. Like, that's kind of like how we used to, when we play ball, like whenever we play like Boston College or like Pitt when they had James Conner or those games, it was like, hey, even as a corner, we like, all right, like how much test you got today? Because it's on the line today. And listen, I was 185 soaking wet. I wasn't trying to tackle AJ Dillon. I'll tell you that. It's probably why I went in the game plan that week. But but for real, and I think that was the issue. So back to it though, the spine did not play well enough for a team that's going to go downhill and play an Oklahoma drill damn near 70% of the game.
Oh, the spine. When you mentioned the spine, listen, man. I guess I gotta jump in here because I need your eyes on this because I've already spoken enough on this. I'd love to know what your thoughts were. And I'll let you narrate it, and then we'll go from there because I've narrated enough. I'm curious how your mind sees it, and just tell me to pause it when I need to pause it, rewind it when I need to rewind it. I just need you to have a look at this for me, please, because I think you're great. You're great eyes.
Lord, you talking about the first play of the game?
No, not that one. Not that one. We could break that down too if you want to, but that's not the one I want to share you. Okay. I want to share this one right here. Help me out with this one. Okay. All right. So this is the 38-yard run to the left side. So I'm gonna let me just kind of mute this a little bit, so I don't need the sound up in here. So let me go ahead and mute that. So you see what's happening here. So we got King Henry. I mean, they're circling up. They're doing everything they need to do. But so we got Cole Bishop, the rookie. We got D Ham. We got Balen Spector. We got Dorian over here, and I think this is
Nick Morrow.
I think this is Nicholas Moreau, and then we got our guy Cam Lewis at the nickel. All right. So, care to narrate anything? Or are you good from here? Can I just press play, or you want to
let that bad boy roll?
All right. Let me know when you want to pause it or just keep going.
You can pause it.
All right.
So, yeah, I know everyone's been talking about this play since it happened Sunday night, right? Like, oh my gosh, like Balen and Damon and DeMar, excuse me, they didn't look good here, and it's not a great look. But I will say, if you run it back slightly, like so right there, so like pause it right here. So, if you're the safety, and I've been there before,
okay,
you read the leverage of the backer.
Okay.
So if Balen Spector, just for layman's terms, I could get complicated, but we're not doing that for people at home. If he goes to the left of Patrick Ricard's shoulder pad and force Derrick Henry to go down the alley, Damar Hamlin feels that.
Correct.
And if you see Cam Lewis on the left side, Christian Benford, excuse me, on the left side of the screen, he's doing that. He is forcing it back in. He's forcing him back inside, correct. And if Balen Spector takes the other shoulder, well, D Ham goes there. The issue is Balen Spector goes down the middle, and Damar Hamlin has nowhere to go here. So if you let it run, you see, he's going in, and then Balen Spector jumps back inside. So then Derrick Henry's a great running back. I'm going to bounce outside where there's nobody. And now you got two people hugging and kissing on the field, and it doesn't look good. So without knowing their exact run responsibilities there, you're not supposed to double take out there if you're Balen Spector. And listen, there are some other clips where I don't think Damar had his best game, but you got to pick a leverage and stay there. You can't do both. And shout out to Patrick Ricard. That's a 300-pound man. Like he
Absolutely.
can. That's a great man out there to be blocking. And it wouldn't have been easy. Yes. What's your opinion?
So and you're more. I would trust your word. All right. But here's how I'm looking at this, and tell me if I'm wrong, because you kind of said it, but I also understand Balen Spector's is bad, right? So I'm looking at my man over here. He's all right. He's diagnosing right now. All right, I'm diagnosing. So right now, this is where for me, he's coming downhill at this point.
Yeah,
he's coming downhill. We're always taught when I play DB, I play a little DB and on the running back side. If you're ever going to lose somewhere, lose by him cutting back inside.
Correct.
Force him back inside where you have your help. Everybody's coming this way and make him work.
Yeah.
But gave him I hate this part. It's just me. But now that you explained to me Balen Spector, but you're my last line of defense.
Correct.
You can see things that he cannot at this point. So
yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, you've stutter step, make your way outside. Because if he has to cut back inside, you got the help. And then, like you said, hugging and kissing.
Yeah, so that's one. Now, to be fair, to criticize and critique a little bit what D Ham is doing, we're also taught don't get caught in the mud as a safety. So regardless if someone is wrong in front of you, if you're gonna come up that far, you better take a shot. So, and that's the issue here. Balen Spector, if I had to guess here, is wrong playing two gaps at once. And D-Ham probably got stuck in the mud down here and came too far downhill, because if he was a little farther back, he would have been able to play both.
For sure.
But he got stuck in the mud a little here. But if you're going to be up here, you just got to take a shot and go. And I think
got to commit.
You got to take a shot. And I think that's that's why that play looks worse.
That hurt me. That hurt me. And I'll tell you, maybe I'm being probably too harsh. I'm probably being way too harsh. But I saw that. I was like, yo, I'm done. I'm done. Yo, number 3, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yo, take that to the sideline, because if you don't want to be a dog, we'll get a real bulldog onto the squad. And Lewis Seed is sitting here on the squad just saying, oh, man, call my name. I'm ready to go up there. There's the other bulldog you were talking about. Call my name. I'm ready to go up there, boy. I'm ready to go up there. Now, Mike Edwards might have an opportunity. I'm waiting to see how this all plays out, if this all shakes out. Will Mike Edwards be inactive yet again, I mean, he probably won't be because now Taylor Rapp is going to be out, likely. So we'll probably see Mike Edwards. We'll see a lot of the split. I'll be interested to see the split. But anyway, I don't want to nitpick because it sounds like I'm nitpicking. And we're 3-1, and I'm very thrilled that we're 3-1 because a lot of teams probably didn't see us going 3-1. To be honest, but we're 3-1. So it's not like I'm hating on this. I'm not, but I'm also seeing what I see. And if I'm going to look at all the safeties around the league, I bet you he is safety 40. And I don't know if I'm exaggerating when I say that. He ain't safety number 32, that's for sure.
Who, DeMar Hamlin?
DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he is either. No.
I just don't. I don't think he's starting material. And right now, that's what we're trotting out. And we don't have a choice. And this is where we're at. So I had to bring that up in terms of winners and losers. Let me go one more winners and losers. I don't know if I like what I'm seeing from the right side of the O-line. And I'm not talking about Spencer Brown. I'm referring to Cyborg. I'm referring to Osiris Torrance. I've been paying attention a lot more to Osiris Torrance because I've seen people say, yo, this guy's not great. He's not been doing well. His PFF grade has not been great. And I try not to put too much weight into PFF, but I also enjoy PFF because these guys that do that, they're doing a job and something's got to be right if they're evaluating someone that not being great. I have not seen this guy have a positive grade this year yet. And then I was like, let me pay attention to Cyborg. Fam, not great. I need to investigate even more, but not great. I don't know if anybody in the chat has been paying attention to Cyborg, but I'm not sure about Cyborg. Do you have any opinion on that, or is that more something you got to watch film on?
No, I've watched all the film. I think that if I told you that going into the game, the Ravens said, hey, we'll take our best safety in the NFL, put them on your tight end that you think is good, and we'll have Marlon Humphrey wipe out Khalil. I think there was a concerted effort to throw some stunts and simulated pressures at the right side of the offensive line. And if you can think about some of the bigger plays in the game, they were right there, whether it was Matabike, whether it was a Travis Jones, whether it was a stunt with Van Noyes coming inside. I think they made a concerted effort to attack that part of the Bills' offensive line for whatever reason, whether they don't think he communicates well in passing off those stunts, whether they just don't think he's a good player, don't know. But you did realize a lot of what the Ravens were doing was we're going right at that A, B, C gap, and we're saying do something about it.
Oh man, isn't that the worst? Isn't that the most? Is that the most disrespectful you can be? Is I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna keep doing it, and you ain't gonna do anything about it.
Yeah. I played against Lamar Jackson in college. I know exactly what the hell that looked like. Yeah, I know. Excuse my friends. I know exactly what the hell that looks like and feels like.
Bro, I'm gonna run at you, and there's nothing you can do about it. I will even give you a lane to try to tackle me, and it's not gonna happen. I mean, I'm talking about Lamar. Lamar is special. I love Lamar. So, oh man, I'm looking at that right side of the O-line, more specifically Cyborg, and I'm having some questions. Torrance, I don't know, man. He's looking suspect to me. And I know he was heavily touted coming out of college, and we felt that we got a steal. And maybe there's a reason that, I mean, he was supposed to be a first rounder, and he dropped out of the first round. So we shall soon see. Maybe, I mean, it's second year player. I know they talk about second year slump, sophomore slump, if you will. So I don't want to cast judgment just yet, but from what I saw this game, boy, did they say, I'm eating your lunch, I'm taking it, and I want you to bring your lunch for me tomorrow because I'm gonna take that again. So that's what it felt like to me. So winners and losers, Cyrus Torrance to me. I got one more for you, and that's I think we could both agree on this. Flea flicker from Joe Brady. When you initially saw the flea flicker, all right, and you're looking at the formation at first, what stood out to you at first? Were you like, okay, Josh Allen to the outside? Like what initially was going through your mind when you saw that?
The hell is Josh Allen doing lined up at receiver? That's what I was thinking. Like when I saw it, I was like, huh, okay, the hell is Josh doing over there? And this isn't hindsight, like truly it isn't. But if you're the Ravens here and having played DB here, whenever you get the funky formation and the quarterback's in front of you, there needs to be something to draw your attention somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm that corner up top, I believe that's Brandon Stevens up there. Why should I leave this receiver in front of me and go to Josh. Like, what the hell would make me go up there? Like,
Right.
truthfully, and this is talking about the play, not necessarily Josh Allen being out wide. It's just the play.
Right.
What would make me do that? And unfortunately, I've been around offensive coordinators. We all have been around coaches who they see something in practice and maybe it didn't work well, but for whatever reason, they are not hard-headed, but they really believe in what they got. They think it's going to work in the game no matter what. I genuinely don't know how that worked in practice. I seriously don't. I seriously don't. So that play, and I respect Joe Brady for taking accountability for that. I think that goes a long way, not just with the public. I think it goes a long way in the locker room as well. And he's going to learn. He's a young coach. I mean, I think we all forget that at times. He's going to bump his head just like anyone else. I mean, Andy Reid bumps his head all the time, and he's one of the best minds of all time. So it wasn't a great play call. He knows that he owned up to it. I just think that if you're going to put Josh Allen out there, y'all better be using Curtis Samuel like at least 3 other times as a Wildcat quarterback, because if the first time y'all put Josh Allen out there and y'all throwing the ball, that ain't fooling nobody. Like that's where it kind of threw me off.
And that's where thank you for saying that, because I'm sitting here going, all right, if we're a Wildcat running team, and that's part of our DNA, all right, then Wildcat again. Okay, watch out, everybody. But you don't do that all year.
Right.
And then you want to pull it at this time, at this part of the junction of the game, and you think that we're going to fall for it. And you're not playing the Arizona Cardinals here. You're playing the Baltimore Ravens, a well-coached team with some veteran guys on the squad. Are you kidding me? But even then, I've seen the play out, and you let it all fall through. Nobody was open.
No.
That was a play that you pretty much were going to get Josh to throw it out of bounds. A wasted play. Now, here's my beef. My beef, in which ties into the winners and losers. Curtis Samuel. Now, I've been taught whenever I played on the offensive side of the ball, if that play looks like it's broken, hold on to it.
Right.
Hold on to the football. We'll live another down. Curtis Samuel knew he was doomed from the start because of a missed block by Deion Dawkins. Bro, you see that guy missed the block, don't toss that. And toss it. I mean, it's history now, which brings me to winners and losers. Curtis Samuel. Right now, he's not winning. He's not winning on the field. He's not winning with the opportunities. And he's talented enough, but there's just something is missing. And I don't know what it is, but right now, Curtis Samuel getting paid. He's the most expensive receiver on our squad right now at $8 million a year. And we are not getting the production that we need to get. And either Joe Brady can't seem to find a way to get through to him, which I don't understand why, because you brought him here because you have the chemistry with him. You think there would be something for Curtis Samuel. I see the effort, but there's just not enough. Yo, you say we're comfortable. Are you comfortable with the receiving crew that we have these first 4 weeks, or does it still need to materialize for you?
Well, comfortable in the terms of, do I like it? No, but
hold on.
I think they like it on one Bills drive, and that's all that really matters in this conversation. But in all seriousness, though, I do think the year is young. I like not to play this whole hey, have some patience here. But this time last year, Dalton Kincaid really hadn't ascended into even a productive tight end, right? It took until Dawson Knox to get hurt, and then Dalton Kincaid's reps to come up for him to improve. I'm sure Keon Coleman's snap count will increase as the year goes on, and he's a rookie. He's literally drowning as he's playing. That's just the way it goes for those guys who are young. Not everyone is going to be Malik Neighbors or Marcus Harrison. They got him in the second round for a reason.
Right.
I think he's going to improve. I just do wonder, with the teams that have an ace, maybe 2 aces. You need 2 aces in secondary. So the Chiefs have a McDuffie. They have a Justin Reed. Jalen Watson, 7th round pick. My boy was out there looking like one of them one-on-ones again. Oh, hell, the Chiefs got another one. What the fuck? Excuse me. What the F?
Yeah. I get you.
So those are my concerns. And I get it. That's scary because you're going to play the Jets, the Ravens, and the Chiefs in the playoffs. But throughout the regular season, I just don't see many teams who have the horsepower to do that. And that's why I get it. Scary right now, and the Bills are playing for January and February. They're not playing to be darlings of the regular season. But get back to me the second time they play the Jets. how does that unit look?
I bet, because I mean, there's some secondaries coming our way that they'll look at our receiving core and say, I don't fear nobody on this list.
Yes.
I don't see nobody that I'm supposed to be scared of. I'm supposed to be scared of Keon Coleman? No, I'm good. I'm supposed to be scared of MVS? We already know his story. I'm supposed to be scared of Mac Hollins? All right, you can walk barefoot all you want. I ain't scared of you. You know what I mean? So, like, the guy that I'm really supposed to be scared of, and I know Walter's going to love this, and I got to give some grief to it, is Joe. I got to give grief to Joe Brady. I got to give grief to Josh, and I got to give grief to Kincaid. Y'all three got to make something work where if you don't have to have an X receiver, but have a feature guy, right?
Yes.
And
correct.
if I'm going to feature somebody to really move my sticks for me, I got to have somebody in the passing that I can trust. That I can say, I can depend on you. And if you have to feature him a little bit more than the others, then so be it. Everybody can still eat, but you got to feature him a little more because you have James Cook in the backfield. That will help you out. But Kincaid, bro, you're in your second year, my guy. I need to see more from Kincaid. And that's not on him because he's not the one throwing the rock. He ain't the one calling plays. So Joe Brady, find a way. If you can find a way to find that bullshit-ass trick play in your bag, I'm going to call him Joe Tricks, JT. You know what I mean? Joe Tricks, if you can go into your bag and try to find that BS, you can find something for my guy Kincaid to really start to expose these defenses in the middle. Because if they're going to start playing a lot of zones like this, let that brother sit in the middle and do work. But right now, it's not happening. And the Ravens absolutely took our lunch money, and it was embarrassing to watch, but it was a humbling experience for these boys. So it is what it is. So listen, man, last but not least, man, before I let you get out of here, and there wasn't a whole lot of good, right? We do the good, the bad, the ugly. I'll just give me, actually, we kind of pretty much touched on it, so I'm not going to make you go back there. So I'm going to just leave it at this. If you were going to take away anything from this matchup, one thing that stood out to you and you're like, you know what, at least there's this and we can look forward to that. What stood out to you that we can build upon? Because it's all about building. We can't sit in here and doom and gloom because we lost. What do you feel that we could build upon that you saw something great in this game or something that kind of somewhat molded and got out there? Is there anything that stood out to you that say, you know what, we can build off of that. We could really do some big things, especially with the Texans coming. We have to go to Texans.
I got two things that they need they can build upon, and then I got one thing where I think I like it. You need to sound the red alarm.
I'm gonna give you a solo shot for this one.
For sure. One thing I think they can build upon is the connection, like I spoke about with Keon Coleman. I think that is something that he showed in that second half with press coverage and that type defense, that the tight man coverage that the Ravens were playing, against Brandon Stevens. He was able to not necessarily separate, but he was able to make a play. And that's what the Bills are clients that want to need. And it's a necessity at this point going forward with the type of defenses that maybe they may get the rest of the year. Secondly, they were able to run the ball. They just got away from it maybe a little too early. And I know the game script dictated that to a certain extent, but they were able to run the ball, especially up against a Ravens front seven that I believe was the best in football coming to that. So I think that was important. I imagine Joe Brady, he's learning like the rest of us, like everyone. I think he, going back on it, maybe got away from it a little too early based off of the game script and have a little bit more trust in his front five and James Cook to move the ball on the ground going forward. Those are two things I think they can build upon. However, there is one thing that I think we're at an 8 on the panic meter, and I think their safety play has to.
Excuse me, what did you just say there?
There's an 8 on the panic meter in terms of the safety play.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that, I think that when you play up against these teams who have equal talent, have a coaching staff that can go bar for yours, if not a little better, you're going to need your dudes to be dudes, or you're going to need everyone to at least be a net neutral. And I don't know if they're getting net neutral play out of that position group whenever they go up against your Cincinnati Bengals. And I know they're struggling right now, but offensively, that's not the problem. Like, offensively, they're just as good as anyone in the league right now. I don't know if you're getting net neutral play out of them against the Bengals, the Chiefs, when they're healthy. You definitely didn't get it against Baltimore. And that's the issue here, because do we care about what they do against the worst teams in the league, or are we talking about these teams when they play in the playoffs against some of the best teams in football? And I just don't know, because we all hear about how the Bills play so much zone coverage and too high coverage. That protects your safeties. Just think about it just simply for a second. On a football field, if you have two safeties up here all the time, that is less space that they have to cover. It's not as hard of an assignment as opposed to if it's like this. If your safety has to go all the way here to here, 53 and a third grades of blast is hard to cover.
Sure.
26 is not as hard, especially if you're just keeping everything in front of you. And against Baltimore, because of the fact that they were running the ball down their throats, it went like this. And now you're asking these safeties to play a little bit more ground. And I don't know. And at that point, scheme goes out the picture. Are you a dude? And I just don't know if they're getting that right now. Cole Bishop can maybe become that. I know he missed a ton of the training camp, and that's behind the 8-ball in that regard, so he's a little green. But I am genuinely concerned about that unit, especially when it's Andy Reid on the other side and he can dial up as many mismatches as he wants. You saw what the Ravens did. I mean, if you're Joe Burrow, you're looking at that secondary, you're going, yeah, them boys back there. And I think that no matter, like, your scheme can protect you if the offense in front of you is inferior. But it's a whole different ball game when that boy across from you is like that too. And I'm not just talking about X's and O's. I'm talking about the coaches on the sideline too. They got eyes like us as well. So I think they need to figure out a way to figure that unit out, whether that – and the one reason I am concerned, though, Mike Edwards has been inactive. Usually players who are inactive aren't the solutions to your problems. So that's why I'm a little concerned. Obviously, Taylor Rapp's concussion. Hopefully, it's nothing long term. But that's all I'm gonna say on that room.
I got you. Laura had something to say. She said, "Yo, Carl flexing. You look swole, Carl. You lifted."
Hey man, listen. I'll throw the helmet on real time. You feel me? I'll throw it on like. No, I'm kidding. I'm washed, y'all. I'm washed.
I like that, yo. My girl Laura's like, oh, what we got there, boy. But let me add to your takeaways because I have some takeaways too. And you kind of you alluded to it earlier when you said something about the spine. And bro, we got exposed because we don't have them ones like you talk about right now. Because there was a still shot, a very damning still shot when you saw Milano, Bernard, Taron Johnson on the sideline. You got 2 all-pro players and a very up-and-coming player on the sideline. So then when you're like, if you guys are here, who the hell's up? Oh, yeah, Balen Spector, Dorian Williams, Cam Lewis, and that's not to throw shade. It's not at all throwing shade. But like you said, when you have to match up against, you know what I mean, guys that are dogs, net neutral, bro, we're in the negative. Because like we're now, if you don't have what it takes physically and skill-wise, then you got to bring it with heart. And I didn't see any heart on the field this past Sunday. And if I'm tripping, y'all let me know. I saw no heart. The heart, yo, they took the out of this goes way back. I mean, you got to be old enough to remember this, but I think it was Indiana Jones when that man punched through that dude's chest and grabbed that boy's heart. When Derrick Henry took that 87-yard run, that's exactly what happened, man. He went through it, popped that heart out, and grabbed it out of our chest, Indiana Jones style. And we were never able to, recalibrate and get back in the game because we were just doing some dumb stuff and even affected our offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. We just couldn't do it. But what stood up to me the most is that we just don't have the dogs on the field right now. Balen Spector, I respect him. I think he's a great depth player, but he ain't starter material in the NFL. In the NFL to start and to dog out, although I like him, he had some moments, but like, nah, fam. Like when you're going up against Derrick Henry and you're going up against Lamar Jackson, you got to step your game up. You really do. So, and they didn't really need to air the ball out because we were rung all over us. 271 yards rushing, bro. They got to us, man. So there was lack of heart. And what stood out though is just we don't have we're dealing with depth players right now. We're dealing with backup players at the safety position. We're dealing with backup players at the linebacker position. And right now, poor defensive fronts trying to do all they can, but these guys are letting us down. You got to hold it down on the back end in order for me to do what I do on the front end. And we just got totally beat. So that's the one thing that stood out to me. What I'm adding to your takeaways. And lastly, for me, is it's just that we just got to be physical, because we just weren't physical enough. And if we're going to play in this game, we're gonna play in this league, we're gonna be in these games, you got to be physical, because nothing worse than when you saw a running back coming your way and you saw him curdle a little, he dipped his shoulder a little too soon and he closed his eyes, you're like, I got him. When those running backs close their eyes, it's over with. Or receivers coming over the middle and you see him do this, you know you got him. So now you just go, oh, defense, we got him, right? It's no different than you playing kickball. If you ever played kickball back in the day, where you know, this person can't hit. Everybody move up. We don't respect them. And that's exactly what the Ravens did. Yo, as soon as they punched us in the mouth, it was over with. So that's the couple things that stood out to me. And boy, we got some things to shake up and change once we take on the Texans next week. So that's it for the Ravens, man. I mean, just give me a couple takes that you got for the Texans, because I'm not going to see you until next week. But Texans, anything stand out to you? You still watching film on the Texans?
I got 3 minutes for you because I got to run it. I got another hit I got to do. But three, I got a couple things for you. One, CJ Stroud is good. Nico Collins is a legitimate top 5, playing like a top 5 receiver in the game right now. Has the most receiving yards in the league.
Yep.
One thing, if you guys want to have some solace about, the running game is not nearly as good as Baltimore, what you'll see last week. Now they probably will get Joe Mixon back this week based off all the reports we're getting out of Houston. Don't know if he's going to be the sole fix for what's going on in Houston right now. The one issue that they have, and I think it may play into the Bills' hands to a certain extent, they're the most penalized team in football right now. They'll move the ball up and down the field, and then they'll just get a holding penalty. And now it's third and 13.
Gotcha.
Like you watch a Texans game, I can't imagine being a fan of that group right now because it's so infuriating. They move the ball up and down the field, and boom, 15 yards back. Boom. And it's coming from their best players, whether it's a Laramie Tunsil, guys not lining up correctly. So on offense, you're going to see a top 10 quarterback in the game in CJ Stroud. Nico Collins is that boy. You're going to say, hey, we don't know if Tank Dell's going to come back either, so that'll be cool to see. And then obviously the elephant in the room, 14 versus the Bills again. That's going to be something fun to watch. And then on the other side of the ball, they got some dudes. I think that Daniil Hunter is a dude. You'll see him on the edge. And then Will Anderson is a dude on the edge as well. So those are two guys who the Bills just dealt with some pressure up front. They're going to get another test this week. And then I love cornerbacks. You'll see one of the best in the game in Derek Stingley, number 24. Yep. So that's what you're going to get out of the Texans. They're not playing great right now, but as any given week, I mean, the Ravens look like pass defense, look trash coming up until Sunday night. And then they look like, I don't know, the 1980s. They look like the Legion of Boom last night.
They look good.
So
they look good.
That's what I got.
Listen, man, I appreciate your time. I know I went a little over my time today. I appreciate you anyways, always. We're hopefully we can do this next week again. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have not followed my guy, Carl Jones, go ahead and follow him at Jones11_. He is with News 4 Buffalo, and we'll definitely keep in touch, my brother.
Thank you, man. You have a good one.
Yes, sir. That's my guy, Carl Jones, always repping. If you guys appreciate the banter that I have with Carl, because it kind of gives you a little bit of nuance. He gives you a little bit of something different because, A, he's played at the collegiate level. He's played against a lot of these players that you see right now on your TV screen. So he's got a little bit of insight. Not a little bit. He's got some great insight on what we can expect from some of these players. And I mean, he gets it. He's played. He gets the mix. He gets the gist of it. By the way, Ravens for Life. I wanted to appreciate. I mean, Ravens for Life is always in the chat. I appreciate him always. And he says, Mixon ran all over this defense. It was much better last time he played Buffalo, and they weapons Dell, Collins, and Diggs. Bills are getting smoked again. We'll see, man. Any given Sunday. I mean, you can never really say that we're gonna get smoked. You just never know. I mean, you guys, I don't know who you guys play next week, but you guys might go into next week and just shit the bed. We've seen that from the Ravens prior to. Now that you guys have found yourself a rhythm, you found yourself an identity, y'all can actually, do some work. But right now, the Ravens, that was a very convincing win. You've fooled a lot of people. I'm not sold yet by the Ravens. I'm really not sold yet. They're still a good team, don't get me wrong. But y'all got to do it again. Because I'm not going to sit here and buy it. I've seen the games you've lost. I know who Lamar is. I love Lamar. But we'll see how it all shakes out. And you guys got the Bengals next. So we will soon see how that all plays out. It's a division game, so you guys needed this. And this is the big thing, right? Here's another takeaway. The Ravens absolutely needed this game. They needed it. They were 1-2. If they lost this game, their backs would have been against the wall. This was a must win for the Ravens. And the fact that it was a home game played extremely well for them, and they needed this win. So they had a little more juice going into this game. And that's the beauty of football, man. When your back's against the wall, just ask the Bills. When we were 6-6 last year, at one point, we just said, yo, our backs are against the wall. We got to start putting wins together. Boom, we start going on a rip. We start doing what we need to do. So it's just what it is. That's the beauty of sports. That is the beauty of sports. You guys needed to win that game, and you did. You guys did a damn good job. You got to give it to the Ravens, man. They did exactly what they needed to do. They executed. They did everything that needed to be done, and it showed. And Lamar is 6-1 against the Browns. I know he actually owns the Cincinnati Bengals, so we'll see. I mean, I'm just saying that we'll see if he could duplicate what he was able to do against the Bills. But don't get me wrong. Now, you have the Cincinnati Bengals that their backs are against the wall as well. So they need to win this game against you guys. So this might be a little tougher than you guys anticipate. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, you guys found your identity, so you guys should be able to kind of come in and handle business. But any given Sunday, any freaking given Sunday. But good win for the Ravens, man. Real good win for the Ravens. You got to give it to them. You got to give them to them. By the way, big shout out to my guy Signified Nose. I did not miss your super chat from earlier. It gives me a chance to read them now. Signified Nose comes in and says, yo, in regards to talking about Devonte Adams' availability, his trade availability, he's asked to be traded. And Signified Nose says, yo, they don't need a receiver they can't afford. He's talking about the Bills. They need a defense since our D-line played like it's a playoff game against the Chiefs. They disappeared. I mean, it's not just the D-line that disappeared, man. The whole defense disappeared. We couldn't tackle. So not that we couldn't tackle. We didn't want to tackle. We sat there and just let these guys bring the beef to our front door. And we weren't able to fight back. We just couldn't fight back. And it just wasn't enough. There was a point that we had our momentum, and then our offensive coordinator decided to call some BS play, and that set us behind. They score off our turnover, and that was a wrap. It was over with. Just imagine if we were able to get 7 off that drive. That becomes a 21-17 game. Now the ball game changes. Now your play sheet changes. You have to be very selective on how you can play. You call your play, and it's got to be right. Now, when you're up 28-10, bro, what run play am I going to run right now? Because that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to kill this clock and run the game and run the ball. And that's exactly what they did. And their time of possession was clear as day. It showed. And sometimes that's just the way it is, man. That's just the way it is. So until we can better ourselves in that regard, it's going to continue. So we got to be better. We absolutely have to be better. Here's another one from Signified Nose. It says, I think if we run it back, even with our banged up defense, we can win. I think getting thoroughly outcoached was a bigger factor than our health. It was compounded, man. It was compounded by everything. We were outcoached. We were outplayed. They were more physical than we were. They had more heart than we did. Their backs were against the wall. There was a whole lot of things that were on their side right from the jump that we just weren't able to counter. We didn't have enough to counter it. And when we did, we'd shoot ourselves in the foot. That's what it came down to. And really, at the end of the day, they made more plays than we did. That's what it comes down to. They executed. We did not execute. Simple as that. It really is as simple as that. But if this team is going to do anything good is that's us getting better on third downs. I don't know if you guys have seen the statistics. I mean, we went 3 for 13 on third downs this last past game. And right now on the year, just let me look this up real quick. On the year, right now, when it comes to us converting on third downs, we're not very good. I'm going to tell you that right now. We are not very good. Right now, third down conversions, folks, we are 15 for 42. We are converting on a 35% rate. So 3.5 times out of 10, we're getting our first. Dude, that's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it, man. Like we were hovering around that 50% mark last year. Now we're at 35%. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. But then you look at us on fourth down, we're 6 for 6, which really pains me when we have an opportunity to go for it on 4th and 1 on our second stint, McDermott's like, nah, we good. We're going to punt it. What? Bro, you got Josh Allen back there. We are flawless when it comes to short yardage. Go for it. Nah, we're going to punt it. I mean, there was a myriad of coaching blips that we had in this game, in this past game. And I'm hoping that we learn from it. And I think we will. I think we're a good enough team that we can learn from our mistakes. And one thing that you can tell with McDermott is he don't make mistakes twice, right, in a row, like losing again in the same fashion to another team. Very rare does that happen. So I feel that we will bounce back. This is going to be a tough game to bounce back, but this is the NFL. Nothing comes easy. Nothing comes easy whatsoever. Walter, what's up, Walter? Walter says, yo, how many games, bad games, until we consider the Oliver deal bad? I get it. He outplayed it most of last season, but Oliver disappears regularly against the top competition, and this has been for years. I will push back and disagree with you on that one, because us fans should know better. I'm not going to say you, but us fans should know better that defense, sometimes it's not about statistics. Sometimes it's about how you affect the game. How you affect the game. There's sometimes you are just such a menace that you can't be blocked. You're being held. You've disrupted the play. So did we get pushed around? We absolutely did. But there were some great moments that Ed Oliver came through and forced a 4th down and penetrated and disrupted the play and forced them to punt on 2 occasions. So, but for the most part, yeah, I mean, the whole defensive front didn't do well. But I still stand by his deal. I think we got him on the cheap, to be very honest with you, and he outplayed his contract last year. He really did. And the season is still young. I think we're still going to try to figure ourselves out a little bit defensively. But I mean, listen, we were supposed to have Milano, Arnard, Taron Johnson. That alone plays a big part in how our defense is played, because you lock down whatever's behind you and allow our defensive front to go eat. But when these guys are running willy-nilly behind us, it makes it a little difficult. But we'll see, man. We got a big matchup coming up against the Texans, so we'll see how that goes, man. So, listen, that's my time, folks. I appreciate you guys. I'm at my hour and a half mark. I try not to go over that. But that being said, listen, man, everything that you guys have contributed to in terms of watching us, clicking the likes and sharing these pages, it doesn't go unnoticed. We appreciate it. I want to give a big appreciation to our members, our Bing Squad members. Those, you guys know who you guys are. Much love to you guys as well. And we'll continue to kind of give you the goods as we go along the season, right? So week 4 in the books. Week 5 is upon us. I'll be back on tomorrow. We're gonna preview the games that are coming up, and we'll preview a little bit of the games of last week, or this past weekend that just passed, and how it affects what the Bills are going to be doing. And then Thursday, we should have our guy Bot back potentially. If it's not Thursday, we'll have our Friday show, and then we will rock on and go from there. So that being said, folks, you guys have been great. You guys are awesome. Listen, the Bills, although we lost, we know where we effed up. We do. We know where we screwed up. We know all that stuff. And I think this team is good enough that they will get their act together. They'll fix their issues, and we will not duplicate that soft behavior that we had before. We're not. I mean, we apparently we have a shirt that goes around. I mean, who the guy that hits the hardest, the slobber knocker. There ain't no slobber knockers on this squad. So I'm hoping one of you guys emerges this upcoming game. So we know it's a big one. We're on the road. You know what time it is, man. Week 5 has been circled on that calendar. So this is going to be a big one, and it's on prime time TV. So we'll see how it all plays out, man. These Ravens came in and they whooped us good. But sometimes a good whooping, you ever get a whooping from your parents? I mean, I know I did. I got a whooping and I knew I deserved it, and it just made me sit there and reflect. I've had some reflecting moments in my lifetime where I had to sit there and be like, yeah, I deserve that one. I deserve that one, and I'm gonna be better for it. And the next thing I know, I'm sitting here cleaning up and doing what I need to do. Sometimes you need a good whooping. Sometimes you need a good whooping, and you remember that whooping, and you don't go back to do that nonsense again. So we needed that whooping for the Ravens. The Ravens gave it to us, and salute to my guy Ing Ravens. I know he's coming in to gloat. I know he's coming in to you know what I mean, put it on us, but we deserved it, man. Much love to my guy. It was a crazy game Sunday. It was crazy for y'all. Not for us. We learned a lesson now. We learned a lesson. We learned that we aren't as tough as we thought we were, and we also learned that our depth we can't cut it. So we got to get healthy. But all in all, man, y'all put it on us, man. Defensively, you didn't give us no time. You gave us no time to get settled in the back end. Josh was running for his life. The Matabuke was a problem. Owe was a problem. Like, yo, the whole squad was doing it. And listen, man, Hamilton, dog. Certified dog, man. Nate Wiggins, dog. Certified dog, man. So y'all put a great game plan together, and we just could not recover after you smacked us in the mouth on that 87-yard touchdown. I'm going to tell you right now, if that 87-yard touchdown doesn't happen, I think it's a tighter game. But that one got us woozy. We had stars around our head, and we just never recovered. We never recovered. And that was the big blow. And listen, the identity you guys found, keep it. Keep that identity, because that's what's going to get you guys in the playoffs, man. And, my man Lamar Jackson was chilling. He didn't have to do anything, man. And it was a bad game. It was a bad game for us, man. It was a bad game, man. Much love to you, man. I listen. We'll do this again. We'll see you in the playoffs. And it's gonna be a different game then. It'll be a different game then. I'm hoping. We didn't even get a chance to do our video together, man. But next time, brother. Next time. So, folks, I appreciate you guys very, very much. You guys already know what time it is. Yo, Walter knows it, man. He snatched our soul. He snatched our soul, man. He got an infinity stone. He took it and he took that shit from us, man. He was over with and done with. Anyway, that's it for me. Appreciate everybody. That's my time. Yeah. Much love to you guys. And it's the Rico Report. It's the Buffalo Fanatics, man. And if you guys have not followed, like that, smash that, all that good stuff, go ahead and do that. And if you guys have not followed me on Bleacher Report, go ahead and find me and follow me on Bleacher Report. That's where I do a lot of my other work when it's not on the Buffalo Fanatics. All right? So that being said, you guys have a fantastic evening. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And then we'll see you back on Friday. So until next time, it's your boy Rico. It's the Buffalo Fanatics. It's the Rico Report. We'll catch you guys again another time. Peace. The team's driven like West Her. Other teams can't. It's a repo. The opponents gotta call up Triple O. Bills Mafia. We heating up. We too electrical. We got bean the plug. Electric show. We wired up. Hit up Rico. Heat fired up. We know where we stand on the power ranking. Other teams fans in the comments hating. We block them all. We protecting Josh. Salute to him. He the general now. Rico got legends for interviews. How the Buffalo Bills got the best fan base. Away games. Red, white, blue in the crowd. Hey. I'm a Buffalo fanatic. Play good, be humble. Number 17, the captain. I'm a Buffalo fanatic. I'm a Buffalo fanatic. I'm a Buffalo fanatic. I'm a Buffalo fanatic. Hey, I'm a Buffalo fanatic.